Now we're rolling. So this is like my favorite part, just like the pre-intro. Yeah. So you've been on this hit list for a while now, along with a whole other cast of characters. So 6 a.m. last week was the time I decided to strike. So it was 6 a.m. So that was the time. But my sister has really been pushing me super hard, super duper hard. She's like, you got to get Troy Reeder on. And like, while you're at it, you might as well just get Gina's husband Paul on. I'm like, Paul Warlow as well too? She's like, yeah, get them both on. I'm like, I don't know if there's enough room up here for all that meat up here. But funny enough, I hit you up and I set it up like Thursday or Friday last week. And then I saw Paul that night. Okay. And so I saw Paul. I was like, yeah, what are you doing 1 o'clock on Monday? He's like, I'm living life 24 hours at a time. I was like, all right, like, let me get your number, text him. I'm like, Troy's coming in. If you make it, make it. If not, no worries, dude. So Paul never answered my text or got back to me. So I'm like, all right, Paul. Yeah. All right, we see where you're at. He's
balancing a bunch of kids and coaching football and everything else.
He's crazy.
Business too, so
he's crazy. Yeah. But I was cracking up that like literally it all came together that one day. I was like, oh shit, is Paul gonna walk in?
Yeah, it's like
so if Paul Warlow walks in,
he'll just have to do Oklahoma in here and just get set up.
I would love that. I would love that. Well, cool. Well, yeah, let's hop into it. So, hey, everybody, welcome back to another exciting episode of Life on the Ave. We're keeping with our theme here of interviewing Del-lebrities. So, Delaware local celebrities, movers and shakers, faces in the crowd. Super pumped up with this one, as we were just alluding to. We have Mr. Troy Reeder here today. Troy, thanks so much for coming on.
Thanks. I'm honored.
Yeah, we love it. Troy has been on the hit list for quite some time. So, I feel like everyone in the state should know your name. And if they don't, hopefully after this podcast, they will. But quick background on Troy Reeder. Troy Reeder is a linebacker for the Los Angeles Rams and a guy who's made a name for himself through hard work, grit, and versatility. He's originally from Hockessin, Delaware, and grew up playing pretty much every sport, but especially football and lacrosse. At Slazy Adams School, he was a force. Nice. I like that. He was a force. Yeah, he helped lead the football team to a state championship. Earned first-team All-State honors on both offense and defense, and was named Delaware's Defensive Player of the Year. And if that wasn't enough, he was also a 3-time state champ in lacrosse and originally committed to play that sport at North Carolina. But football came calling in a big way. Troy ended up committing to Penn State, where he started his college football journey before transferring back home to play for the University of Delaware. At both schools, he made his mark as a tough, smart, and reliable linebacker. He eventually went undrafted, but that didn't stop him. He signed with the LA Rams, worked his way up, and has since become a key contributor on one of the NFL's top defenses. The LA Rams announced this week that they re-signed Troy Reeder to a 1-year contract. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Excited about that. Troy has spent 5 of his 6 NFL seasons with the Rams, including their Super Bowl, 56?
56.
Yeah, Super Bowl 56 win. Troy is husband to the lovely, amazing Mary Reeder and father of 2 children, son Bo and newborn daughter Riley. So Troy, thanks so much for coming on today. Really appreciate it.
Yeah. This is, I know I've been following for a little while and definitely wanted to hop on here.
Nice. Yeah. So you were excited to see my DM at 6 a.m.?
Oh, yeah. This is the first thing I woke up to.
Exactly. Great. Yeah. I was thinking about it. I was like, he's got a couple kids. Like, he's up. This is the best time to get him.
Oh, yeah.
Right now.
You got me before all the stress of the day hit.
Yeah.
You catch me at like 5 o'clock at night right before bath time.
No, that text is getting answered the next day.
I'm shutting down everything.
Exactly.
You know how it goes.
Yeah, we know how it goes. Yeah, we're fathers of 2. 2-time sex habits. Yes. Shout out us. And shout out our wives for putting up with us.
Yes, no doubt.
But most important thing in this bio that didn't make it in there, funny enough, you went to high school with Cole Cyber.
Yes.
Care to elaborate? So for some background here, life is just, it's interesting. Yeah. You and I grew up in like a social media age. I remember the first time I heard the name Troy Reeder. He's committed here and he's also going to Penn State to play football. And I was like, who the hell is this kid? Like this is wild. So that was my first time hearing your name. Do you remember the first time we ever actually met?
I think it was in a Lang development project.
Yes.
If I'm not wrong.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. So this was like 2014 graduated from Sally's, and then 15, 16 you were at Penn State.
16 Penn State, or I guess 14 fall, 15 fall. My first semester at Delaware was spring 16. And I think it
was at a Lang building. Yeah. And it's just like I tell these guys all the time and stuff, like the alphas just know each other. So I consider myself an alpha.
Just seek each other out.
Exactly. Yeah. You can just recognize the polarity and like the energy when someone enters a room, right? Like literally you pulled up right here. I thought you were someone else. I was on the phone sort of deal. And then you just posted up outside your car, just waiting.
Just knew the head nod.
Yeah. Just head nodding. Right. Yeah. And I was like, oh shit, like there he is. Like he's right there in front of me. So, so I was working at Lang Development at the time. My wife, Mary Kate, was working there, so she got me a job, and I was cleaning out like a building or a space, something sort of deal. And I had heard the rumor, Jeff and your dad are good friends, and I heard the rumor that you were transferring, coming back, and like obviously like in Newark, you live at Lang, like it is what it is, right?
No doubt.
And so like literally like my radar was up, and you walked into the building that I was like working at, and we just like dapped each other up, and like that was it. Like we didn't really say anything. It was just like, yo, what's up?
Yeah, it was just unspoken respect.
Correct. Yeah. So fast forward, I played men's lacrosse, so I was good friends with Mary, Mary Kate, and both our Marys went to Ursuline, so they were friends. And I'm boys with Coley Ricky, like she's my girl.
She's great.
Yeah. So I was like, all right, cool. Like this is a cool little contingent. Like yada yada yada. Fast forward. One of the next times that we ever talked was at Second Swing.
Oh,
do you remember that?
Yeah.
So
we were picking up a 58 degree.
Yeah. So we were at Second Swing. So I remember it vividly. It was my wife's baby shower. It was me, my boy Dan, and Cole were in there.
Yeah.
And you walk in, I think maybe with like Tommy Abram, somebody. Yeah, somebody else was with you.
Oh man, maybe my friend Noah Bay. He played football in Delaware.
Yeah, somebody. But you guys come walking in right as we're walking out, and I'm like, yo, what's up? I introduce you to my boy Dan, and then Cole steps up and he goes, hey man.
Yeah.
And he goes to shake your hand. He goes, yeah, we went to high school together. You just looked at him like,
so hard.
I rip him every day for that. I crack up.
That's so bad.
So literally, as he was just walking out of the office just now, he's like, I'm going to get ripped on this podcast, aren't I? I was like, yeah, we're going to start off with that.
Yeah, start off with that. Get it on you got to edit the Wikipedia page and make sure that's in there in personal life, whatever.
Exactly. So obviously doing the podcast it's a lot of work that goes in behind the scenes. So Patrick does this, he does all of our editing. Mary Kate and Cole like handle the bios, and my wife, she just yells at me, she's like, what the fuck, you think you're just Joe Rogan, like you just show up and do it? I'm like yeah, like whosever job it is to write this. And she's like, well, I'm asking you to write it today. And I was like, I'm not going to write it. Like, I don't need to write it. He's got a Wikipedia page. I just Googled your name and I pulled it up. I was just going to read off of that. But yeah, I was cracking up at that because she tasked me with writing this and coming up with the questions, and I'm like, babe, he's been on my hit list for 2 years. We got a plethora of topics to talk about.
Yeah, we could definitely talk for a good hour. Probably not even touch football or anything else, you know?
No. But so definitely some stuff I want to get into. And I think where I want to start it off is like where I first, heard your name. So lacrosse. So how did we get into that game? Like how does it translate to today? Like what's your experience been with the medicine game? I have a great relationship with the game of lacrosse. And it's a very special game, especially when it's played at a high level like you played at.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, it's one of my favorite sports. Like obviously, I mean, football's always been my love. But there was a point in time, I had such a great experience playing lacrosse at Sally's that I was like, if this is what college is like, I would maybe keep this thing going. Do it at the college level. Got into it in third grade. I don't know how old were you when you started?
I didn't start. I was a late bloomer.
Stick in the hand, or
I was a Delco kid. Didn't even know what lacrosse was. So I went to the Haverford school, and when I went up to Haverford, they saw me playing football, and they're like, "What does he do in the spring?" I was like, "I used to play baseball. I stopped after Little League. Didn't run track. I was going to play golf, but they moved golf to the fall. So they're like, tell him to stop by my office, my room,
Yeah.
one of our teachers' rooms, and he gave me a stick the next day.
So that was high school?
High school, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't start playing until high school.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Natural athlete. Just picked it up. Dark lacrosse club.
Okay.
Didn't know a thing about the sport. Like literally basketball, you know the gist of the game. Like I went to practice and like the coach was telling me I needed a new stick. Like they're like ripping my dad over like what kind of helmet I had. Like probably had me in a football helmet or something. Like we had no clue what we were doing.
Yeah.
And I always joke with my dad because I think he started my brother and I in lacrosse because he just didn't want to sit and watch youth baseball.
No, God,
and needed to do something in the spring.
Reader.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I mean, I say that about my kids now. I'm like, I think I'll probably just put a lacrosse stick in their hands.
My dad loves it. He says, he's like, I love looking up at the scoreboard, and when it's all zeros, it's over.
Yeah.
Like, it's not the seventh inning, and we're still here.
No.
Yeah.
Just, having to go through the phases of the T-ball and stuff. I mean, I would love for them to play whatever they want, but I can definitely see that side as a parent now. Naaman's Little League.
Oh, yeah.
Once in a while we'll stop by and it's like
Watching grass
I don't
grow.
know if I can sit here, but anyway, that's how I kind of got the stick in my hand, and I liked it. It was always kind of second to football, maybe even third behind basketball. And then I got to Sally's, and I don't know if you know Bob Healy at all, the head coach there.
Not personally, no.
He is like the best and made it so fun. The guys on the team are great. A lot of those guys are some of my best friends still. And just because of the relationships, really, I sort of fell in love with it. And, like competing at a national level was just different than our football team was really good.
Yeah.
But, we're playing the teams in the state and, doing well. Lacrosse, it was like every year we just took it up a notch and going up to play some of the best teams in the country and bringing teams in from all over the place. And I just thought that vibe felt like premier, and it just made it so much more fun competing at that kind of level. And that's kind of how I ended up sort of committing to UNC first to play lacrosse. And
who recruited you there? Who was it? Was it Bresci?
Joe Bresci.
Yeah.
And he was the offensive coordinator at the time. Killing me, but I can't remember his name. But they both were recruiting me, and I went down there. I visited Duke, visited UNC, had a great time at both. Ryan Kilpatrick.
Oh yeah.
Who your class? He was 20.
My class. Ryan Kilpatrick and I played blue gold. Like Southeastern PA all-star football game together. And I have a funny Ryan Kilpatrick story that I'll tell off camera. We'll save it for another time. Long story short, Ryan Kilpatrick, my mom kicked him out of our Seattle house one night.
Way.
For trying to get it on with one of my sister's friends.
That's funny.
But Ryan Kilpatrick, see, you break the mold because my chirp at all the Sally's guys. Disclaimer, I did not go to Sally's. A lot of people think I went to Sally's, but I need to assimilate with the culture.
Agreed. Yeah.
Here, you have to.
It's important.
It's very important. But my chirp for Sally's people is, and Ryan Kilpatrick's example, all of Delaware's best athletes are from Pennsylvania. And then you sit in this chair and just, completely kibosh my theory.
Yeah. I know. It was funny. I mean, there was a point in time that our lacrosse team at Sally's, I think it might have been my freshman year, we won the states and had a really good team. Ryan was captain, D-Walk. But, I could name every starter on that team, and I think I might have been the only Delaware starter at the time. And we had some other really good players that were 3-year starters after that, or played a lot. Fred Frybot grew up in Delaware, played at Ohio State. And but Jason Kelly was a lefty attackman from Kennett. Bailey Martin was from Maryland. D-Walk was from PA, Kilpatrick, Evan Leader, Andrew Blunden,
Blundy, my boy Blundy,
those guys are all PA guys. So it's kind of funny.
There's a big contingent around my age where Pennsylvania parochial schools like Sally's was like top ranked, like before Malvern and Haverford and EA blew up sort of deal. Sally's was getting a lot of kids mid to late 2000s out of PA.
Yeah, it was interesting. I didn't really expect that when I got there. I didn't know how it was going to be, and when I went to Sally's, I knew a handful of guys, and I played against a lot of guys, but I grew up more in like the Newark crowd. Like most of my best friends were going to St. Mark's, and I chose Sally's because I wanted to really, lacrosse was the deciding factor.
Really?
In that decision, and it was sort of like, St. Mark's, Sally's football at the time, at least, pretty even. But there ain't no way I'm going to St. Mark's and losing to Sally's for 4 straight years in lacrosse.
No, not at all.
And I played for Bob Healy actually in the summer of 8th grade going into 9th grade, and for Rip and Rope lacrosse.
Rip and Rope.
With Coach Duncan, too, and a handful of other guys that were high school coaches in the state.
Still are.
Yeah, still are. And
still out there grinding.
I was like, I want to play for this guy. And
Love it.
That was sort of the deciding factor that pushed me over the edge.
Love it. Yeah. My one interaction with Bob Healy. So I tore my ACL my senior year at Delaware, and I was like, all right, I'm done playing. They were like, you could redshirt sort of deal. I was like, I did my back, I did my ACL, I'm good. Yeah. Let me, try to get into coaching. So I'm friends with Blundy. So I reached out to him. He got me connected, and I was just like, I want to coach like JV freshman at Sally's, like, be with a good program and just like help out a couple days a week. And he just never got back to me. So I ended up
it's because you didn't go to Sally's.
Exactly.
He would have texted you right back.
He would have got right back.
He would have got
Sally's
right brethren. Back. Yeah.
So I ended up coaching at Unionville that year.
Okay.
Now going back to assimilating to the culture, I told Gene when our son was born, Winslow, like coming back up from Christiana, we get off exit 7 to go to our house. I got off exit 8 and I drove around, and we took a picture of Winslow in front of Sally's, like Sally's class of like 2041. Yeah, because it's just like, I love everything that school, stands for and puts out, at least on the front facade, on the athletic facade. I know that the academics are there and stuff like that. So I haven't met, I'm sure there's a couple bad apples out there. There are in every bunch, but every Sally's guy that I met so far has been, a stand-up dude and someone I would want to do a podcast, have a Surfside with sort of deal, right? Yeah. Maybe do an Oklahoma drill. Who knows?
Who knows? See where we go. See where we go with this thing.
To Havford, and then I ended up playing lacrosse. Did you ever look at one as like more so like funner than the other one? Like lacrosse was definitely fun for me, but I hear your passion for football.
I think lacrosse, maybe even like season by season, like football, lacrosse, like whatever season I was in was kind of my favorite at the time.
Because you're a linebacker, you just want to tack whatever's in front of you right now.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, that's just kind of how...
Dad, what helmet do I have to wear?
Right, I know. I mean, that was... Throwing on that lacrosse helmet right after the football season was like, wow, it's like having nothing on your head. Probably not good for the brain, but it's...
Oh, my God. Putting on the Rydell, I'm like, this thing is so heavy, right? And then putting on the Pro 7, you're like, oh,
Pro
this is
7's
sexy.
Like, oh, yeah, I'm going to zip all over the place now. But... honestly, I think the one thing about lacrosse, and I worry about it with kids all the time, is I didn't play lacrosse in the fall because I was playing football. I played a little bit in the winter, but I really needed the winter to train hard if I wanted to have a shot to be a Division I linebacker. I couldn't play a sport every single season and put my body in a position where I could go in and compete as an 18-year-old and the college ranks. So there was some give and take, but the one thing it did for me was I felt like it kept me fresher. That when lacrosse season came around, it was like excitement, and I was ready to get the stick back in my hand and play again. And even for me, playing half the year, by the time July came, I was like, man, I'm done with these tournaments. I'm ready to move on to football.
Let's get some 7-on-7s.
Football, I never got burnt out, and I just worry about that with kids with any sport. Is can you do it year round?
It's tough
until college. Like, I understand there's kids that might need it, and if that's their best shot to earn a scholarship or whatever, you parents know their kids the best, and I think kids a lot of times know themselves the best. But I always felt like that made me better at each of them, that I had a break from them. And then in in the meantime, I was building the love back for it again. So I was ready to go by the next season,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And like those two sports definitely complement each other. So like when you're running the rock, it's one cut downhill sort of deal. But when you're dodging, like
dodge.
You're Kobe Bryant out there, like putting, split, roll, hitch, boom, back of the net, right?
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt.
Yeah. So you get to get some of the creativity.
Hands,
exactly.
movement skills. I mean, a lot of it does translate both sport to sport. And you can say the same about playing hoops or soccer or whatever, you name it. But yeah, I think it's good for kids. I think personally it helped me. So
100%. And I'm doing the Lord's work right now. My good friend is the head coach at DMA.
Okay.
So I'm coaching at DMA. I got the blessing to coach 1 day a week. So I do Monday nights.
Okay.
Which is great. So super blessed in our business. We're doing well, sort of deal. So the conversations that I have are all, stressful, high level conversations for our clients. They're not stressful for me. It is what it is. Like it's my job. So it's what I was put on earth to do. But my wife said, you need to get your testosterone out. So I run down, and for the past 4 weeks, I've been doing it since the start of the season, the past 4 weeks, Monday nights, 2 hours, 5:30 to 7:30. I get my yelling out, let's go, right? And I get them all hyped up, sort of deal. So
that's great.
I just love the game. So and I still think I got it. Yeah, I would. I would
probably still could.
I would whoop all these guys for sure. Yeah. They don't listen to me at all. I'm like overhanding on the net, and they're like, no. So I'm like, guys, we scored 27 goals this year. I think I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Like let's just try it my way, right? We've tried it your way. We're 2-3. Let's do it my way.
Maybe we switch it up a little bit. Like do it the way I want to do it. We'll just check back in a couple weeks.
Exactly. Yeah.
A couple wins later.
Yeah. So we'll get after it. But yeah. Do you do any like consulting? Like when you're here in town, you were mentioning, you stop by UD practice. Like does coach let you talk to the team? You like get with the linebackers at all? Like do you see coaching in your future? It's obviously like in your blood.
Yeah. I definitely want to coach in the future, and I don't know what level exactly yet.
Yeah.
I've messed around with the thought of just continuing and going through the NFL coaching. Or, college has gotten really crazy right now with the NIL stuff. So I don't know if that would be of interest, but at the very least, like I definitely want to be involved at Sally's or a high school, and Sally's would just be so perfect. Gene's got it rolling.
Yeah.
Obviously Bob Healy's still in the lacrosse program. Like I think that would be so fun. Like just both to give back from my experience that I've had, but also, you just need that taste of the game.
Yeah.
Like I have been lucky enough to not know what it feels like to be just done. And, but there's glimpses like throughout your career where you're like, I wonder if that was the last one.
Right.
What if it was the last one? Like, you go down with an injury or something happens and you're like, whoa, like, I don't know if I'm ready for it to be done.
Right.
And then you might think you are, but you're not. So regardless, I want to keep my foot in sports. And I think the really cool thing about high school is because of the age of the kids.
Yeah.
You can like really, really affect a kid's life in a good way.
100%.
And, you can do that in college. You can do that professionally, but it's not like touching the life of a 16-year-old kid that's needs it in the worst way. And just the opportunities to earn a scholarship, or even if they don't, but to go be a part of a team somewhere where they're going to learn lessons that are
to be a contributing member of society.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So. I mean, I'm such a big fan of sports. Like, I could go on and on, but it's some of the things. If I never played pro sports or even college sports, like, I think whatever I would have done, if I was successful, I would have attributed it to the things I learned playing sports. Yeah. And I'm sure you do that here on a daily basis. Like,
100%.
I'm sure it's competitive and tough. And, if you're not competitive and tough, like, you will not put food on the table. And
exactly.
That's how it is for a pro athlete, and that's how it is in life. So you better figure it out fast and early. You know?
Exactly. Preach. We had a Sally's alum in this office today, Mr. Chris Haggerty, Navy SEAL, cool. Came in, probably talked to like one of your guys' teams or whatever. But if not, he was fantastic. And he was talking about 3 things he was talking about with us. Number one, like standards, like, hey, like, hey, the standard, like, oh, that's standard, right? Sort of, it's like, no, the standard is excellence. And like we're up here every day. Second thing he was talking about was like front sight focus. So like, hey, you have your goal, and he was talking about like shooting a gun, and he's like, you got to be looking at your front sight target. Like, so it should be blurry in your rear target, your front sight target should be clear, and then the target itself should be blurry, so that way you're showing up and you're going to work every day with the goal in mind, but still working on it. And then the third thing he was talking about was family. And like on the standards thing, he talks about like one of the SEALs thing is like it pays to be a winner. Like it pays to be a winner. Like you played your whole entire life for the opportunity to get paid to do your passion. So kudos to you. Kudos to you. We love that.
I mean, I couldn't agree more. And it's, you push yourself so hard in like doing certain things that you figure out what your standard is. If you never push yourself in life, how your standard is, you think you know what your standard is. But that's what's cool about the SEALs is like when they go through their training, they push them from where normal humans are here, they push them to here.
Oh, yeah.
And then everything they do in life is like, well, I did this once and got to here.
Exactly.
I can do it again. And, that's what you do as a boss. It's what you do as a coach. And try and find out what those guys' standard threshold is. And then after that, like that's the standard. You can't go below that.
Yeah. I think about it all the time. My first playing experience was at High Point University, and it's so funny because my head coach at the time was like 32. I thought he was a lot older, right? No, but he was like 32, right? And we're 18, 19-year-old kids, and we were a brand new D1 program. We were like club our first year. He brought in like 20 of us, and that first year I think about it all the time, like literally every day. Like it was on the field, dressed on the side of the practice field at 5:45 a.m. for a 6 o'clock start that ended at 8. That went right into lift, into breakfast, into a full day of classes. And like, I was looking at these other college kids on campus just being like, oh, you woke up at 10?
Yeah.
Like I've lived the whole life.
Dude, today. How do you not have straight A's? Like, like what would I do with this other 6 hours out of my day? Probably not study, but you could.
But I just like think back to that. And I'm like, okay, cool. Like I made it through that. And like now I'm realizing a lot of the lessons that he taught us and things I'm trying to imprint on these guys, which is fantastic. High school sports, I've been around it forever, so we'll touch on it in a little bit when I mention it. We're going to get to it in a couple minutes, but my mom's been coaching high school cheerleading for like 26 years. Oh, wow. She's like the Nick Saban of Pennsylvania high school cheerleading. Like she just loves it.
Just a dynasty.
And it keeps her young. I look at my mom, I'm like, when are you going to hang this up? She's like, never.
That's cool.
Never. Like this is it. So one thing I wanted to take it was like I had the harsh realization. I have my best friend Brian Roditis. We grew up together, Aston, Chichester. He went to EA, I went to Hadford, and his dad broke my heart a little bit in 8th grade. But he was like, Vince, you're 4'10", 100-pound white guy. Like University of Florida is not coming up to recruit you for football sort of deal. So he broke me down. But you, on the other hand, 3-4 star coming out of high school, had a handful of offers. Miami was one of your offers, I think it was, according to your Wikipedia page that I was looking up this morning. But what was that like recruiting process like? Like it sounds, and for those of you who don't know, like the lacrosse recruiting process, like is basically like you go down, you take a visit. They're like, do you want to come? And you're like, yeah, sure. And it's like, oh my God, I committed. And people are like, oh, you committed, right? And I'm like, yeah, like that's that. But like the football has always been like a process where like those offers aren't coming into like junior, senior year. So what do you remember from that like recruiting process?
I mean, I knew I did
two of them.
I did. Yeah. So lacrosse was really fast because I mean, I had played like my freshman season, did this top 205 camp down in Baltimore.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Played really good, and all of a sudden I went from kind of like, because I wasn't playing on all these travel teams and stuff, like I was relatively unknown.
You were a hot commodity. Who's this new
well,
guy?
I
We
was
gotta scoop
unknown,
him up.
and then I mean, I played really good all weekend, and didn't think much of it. Besides, man, I can play with anybody. And then by the time I was like on my way home, I had like missed call. Bob Healy had calls from Joe Bresci, Danowski, Tillman, Petramala, and it was like, whoa! Like I never
ACC
even
Hopkins,
didn't really,
baby.
didn't really think about playing lacrosse in college like until that moment.
Yeah.
And then it was like, well, they're great schools. Like, might as well go check them out. Like, and I knew they weren't going to wait around for the football recruiting process to go because that would have been over a year later. So I felt like, I wanted to go do this and see. I liked the game enough that I could see myself playing it in college. If the right football opportunity didn't present itself. So anyway, I commit to UNC like in the winter of my sophomore year, and I kind of let them know, like they knew I was a two-sport guy and really loved football. My dad played professionally for a few years. And Steelers, yeah. Drafted by the Raiders, played 2 years for the Steelers. But anyway, I think they kind of knew, like, if this guy's got like a good sophomore season, we could lose him. But I tried to be as upfront about that as I could.
That's one of my questions, because that's a big ask of a 15, 16-year-old kid.
It is. I mean,
you're asking me to commit. I still got 2 years of high school left.
Like 2.5. Like, and I was like, I haven't even played a sophomore football season. So I don't even know if I'm good yet, really. Like, I know I'm pretty good, but like, this is Delaware high school football. Like, there's a lot of guys that are pretty good for that. And then, had a really good sophomore year of football, and stuff started getting rolling for football. Hit some camps that summer. Going into my junior year.
Question for you: did you do the Temple camp?
I did not.
No.
Gotcha. I only did.
Temple was running like a lot of like 1 day camps when I was like coming through, sort of deal. Al Golden was building it up, sort of deal. So I think that contributed. I want to see Temple get better, but that's like the only camp I did in high school. So I just want to see if you went.
No, I wasn't there. But I remember sitting down with my parents and like talking about schools, and I think it was maybe even overwhelming for them. Like, my dad had a few offers, but like he went to Boston College 80s, exactly. Like he was sending out like VCRs, like and like didn't even know if it was getting to the people. Just hoping it got there. Like, so, they didn't really have
in 2 weeks.
the same way. Be like, we have no idea who you are. So
what's this 302 number?
Right. So, versus like in today's age, like I'm like uploading stuff to the computer that I don't know if it's going to get to people or not, but they're getting back to me. And all of a sudden there's these guys like coming through school, and I'm telling my parents like, Miami was here today. Penn State was there today. And, I think part of them was like, really? Like, wow, like this might be bigger than even we expected. And I think they always held me to a high standard and thought I could play at the highest level, but almost like kind of a surreal moment when, Ron Vanderlinden, the linebacker coach at Penn State, is like knocking on your door in school. And
so sick.
Like, grabbing your arms, like checking you out. You're like standing there flexing for like 10 minutes while he just like feels
your
all your
money. Sir.
Oh yeah. So, then that process was like entirely different.
Because you had to add in neck shrugs every morning.
Like I had to have a pump. Like my head coach needed to tell me when I needed my pump to peak at, and so I mean it was cool. And
did anyone from like Rivals or Scouts ever reach out to you? I was just curious.
I had like a guy that was kind of like my Rivals.com
rep
regional guy that was like, hey man, you get an offer, like report it to me and I'll get it on the website and stuff.
Sweet.
But that was one thing, like I never did any kind of like Rivals camp or 24/7 camp. Like that year going into my junior year, I went to a Northwestern football camp. I went to a Penn State football camp, and I went to a UVA football camp.
Sick.
And those are the only camps I ever did. And it was just, my parents were like, you're not going to camps to collect offers. We're going to go where you think you could see yourself playing, and good schools, and ideally, like for them and for me, within 5-hour radius was kind of my goal.
Still kept the ACC, but we expanded the Big Ten.
A little bit. And, I went on some visits and stuff like for junior days and stuff to other schools that I didn't do camps at but had offers from. And at the end of the day, it was like, man, I am a linebacker. Like, how can I not go to Penn State?
Yeah.
Like, they have an offer to me. They really want me. I was one of the first guys that they.
Who was the head coach at the time? Was
Bill
it B.O.B.?
O'Brien.
Yeah.
Yeah, who was awesome. Their linebacker coach at the time had coached. I mean, you go in his office, and I was like, dude, this is like linebacker heaven. It's just LeVar Arrington, Paul Posluszny, Mike Motti, Gerald Hodges, Navarro Bowman. And then at the time, they had a couple of really good ones there. Mike Hall was Big Ten linebacker of the year and played a couple of years in the NFL. And, I mean, they were just cranking them out. It was like such a no-brainer that it was like, this is where I need to be.
I need to get a neck roll. I need to have a number in the 40s and put on the blue and white and the black cleats.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Black shoes and basic blues, they say. Which,
exactly. So that leads me into it. You didn't drop my guy, but my mom, going back to it, high school cheerleading coach, my first like foray into like high level athletics. My mom was the cheerleading coach at Strathaven High School. So Dan Connor. Yeah. So Dan Connor. So
another Sean Lee, I didn't say.
Yeah, Sean Lee. We missed out. He's a Cowboy though. Yeah, we'll let him go. He's a Cowboy. But Dan. So Haven went to the state title like 99 to like 02. So like 4 years in a row, 2000, 01, 02. And then Dan graduated 03. And I was on the sideline as the water boy at like 7, 8 years old for Dan Connor. And my brother tells a story. He was like in a high school party, one time and like just walking around the room talking to people, and this guy just emerged from the corner and was like, "Hey, is your mom Lisa?" And he goes, "Yeah." And your little brother's Vincent? He goes, "Yeah." He goes, "My name's Dan Connor."
Oh, that's cool.
Dan Connor remembered me as the water boy. But 02 state championship game was Dan Connor, Strathaven, Paul Posluszny, Hopewell.
Wow.
These dudes hit each other every play. Both fullback, running like wing T, and linebacker.
Yeah.
And I was like 10 years old, just like, oh, these are alphas out here. Alphas.
That must have been legendary.
It was nuts, dude. Hershey,
both
PA.
Played both ways.
They hit each other literally every single play. It was nuts. Paul got the best of them. They won like 21-14. But the linebacker, like, how can you not? You go up there, 110,000 people. You're like, this is beautiful. Is what it is. And then you went up there and balled out. So you transitioned pretty well out of high school, started as a freshman, right?
I redshirted my first year, which was great for me. Felt like that was maybe the biggest jump I made in like my career was from my senior year of high school to my redshirt freshman year.
You find another 15, 20 pounds to put on the frame.
Kind of, I'd grown a lot, like even to the end of high school, and that was like the first year where I was like, okay, I'm big enough, time to like solidify, get fast, and really, like, more than anything, learn the game. Like,
you just
don't see anything in high school football. So
no.
By the time you get to college, you're like, you kind of go in and you're like, well, I'm big enough and I'm fast enough, so inherently I should play or be able to play. And then you get there and you're like, I don't feel very fast. And you're like, well,
why is everybody else moving so
literally
fast?
Guessing on every play. You just, no matter what you do in high school football, like, you're just not prepared for Braxton Miller and JT Barrett, like, running at Ezekiel Elliott. And then, I had like one good solid year of redshirting that I got to play a bunch of scout team. I got to play, still do some stuff like with the second team defense. And it was probably the best thing for me, even though I hated it at the time. But looking back, it was
Who made
huge.
that decision? Did Penn State make that, or you?
So they came to me at the end of camp, and they were like, "Look, you're true freshman, you're not starting. We'd hate to burn your year to run down on kickoff. How do you feel about that? And a big part of me was like, I just want to play. I don't really care what capacity. And I talked to my dad and my mom, and I was like, I just don't know what I want to do. And they were like, well, this is what the situation was. I was the next Mike linebacker to go in the game.
Yeah.
If the starter got hurt for more than a couple weeks.
Yeah.
If his helmet popped off and it was one play, they did not want to burn my ear. And now things have changed. You can play in 4 games and not lose your red shirt, which would have been even better for me because I could have done that. But
you also
at the time,
could be making $1 million playing college football now.
Yeah, which also would be sick. But they came to me and they were like, look, you're a second string guy, but like we don't want to burn your year if we don't need you on defense. So I said, yeah, I mean, that makes a lot of sense to me. And I kind of committed to the weight room and training and getting better and trying to become a vet. And then it was cool to be able to go back the next year and be like a freshman. Yeah. And kind of.
You're older, wiser, smarter.
Exactly. Yeah. So it was important, like for my career going forward and stuff. Yeah. And
you didn't enroll early, did you?
I didn't. No.
Yeah. I remember Dan did out of Strathaven. Like he enrolled early. But yeah, like that's the thing that like I try to tell people that like, hey, like if you want to play at a high level, like you need all the skills and stuff like that, but the speed of the game to just be able to look and just be like, oh shit, like they're gonna roll this way or like do this sort of deal or like, hey, this guard is like he's eyeing me up, right? I need to watch this crack coming down.
Yeah, you're seeing plays that you just literally have never seen before in your life, and you're just like.
You're like, what's all this motion?
Yeah, like the quarterbacks can make throws that like, I played middle linebacker in high school. Like, I don't think I was targeted one time, like in my whole high school career. Like, people throw it like 5 yards and 45 degrees.
They were throwing flat routes. Like, that's it.
They were never throwing like over the middle because you didn't have enough time and your quarterbacks couldn't see. So it was like, I should just honestly blitz every play. I get to college and like these guys are like zipping sidearm shots like right past your head, and you're like, oh, like
damn.
Just missed it.
Like I heard that one go past my helmet.
Yeah.
Like
you're like looking one way and the ball's going the other, and you're like, all right, I got to figure this out like as soon as possible.
Yeah.
And you just different people take time sometimes. Different positions take times. You know, like at the line of scrimmage, things happen insanely fast.
Yes.
The closer to the line of scrimmage you are. So versus, if you're playing corner, safety, you have more time to like see things unfold.
Yeah.
That process, I think, helps people play earlier. Receiver, it's like you get a route, like you figure it out. There's still a learning curve, but offensive lines, like, dude, if you're not ready for this guy to hit this club rip on you, like you're about to be face in the dirt, like everybody laughing at you, it just
and they're gonna run it back on film 10 times.
Just
Reader, like, what are you doing here?
Like, so you're supposed to block that guy, like, obviously didn't get it done, but
that's hilarious.
Yeah,
but we definitely figured it out. Big Ten, first team, all freshmen, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah.
And then you pull the classic Delaware kid move. Got to come back home, right?
Yeah.
We see it all the time. People move out of Delaware. They're like, I need to go do the Philly thing, the New York thing, the DC thing, and then they come back home.
Coming back.
Yeah. Any particular reason? Family? You had a multitude of reasons.
Honestly, like the guys that I committed to when I was at Penn State were not the guys I got to play for.
Because what?
Like
B.O.B.
I said,
left?
like B.O.B. left.
Yeah.
That linebacker coach that coached all those greats was gone. The new guy was like,
Who was the new guy?
His name is Brent Pry.
Okay, yeah. Who's the new head coach after B.O.B.?
James Franklin.
Oh, Franklin. So he's been there.
Yeah.
I'm out on Franklin.
He's I mean,
it's a safe space.
He's had some great seasons, and I think they're due to win one. If he wins one, he silences
a lot of haters.
And but at some point, you're turning in top recruiting classes in the country, and it's not correlating to the final
You
finish.
gave the PC answer. James Franklin, you better win a championship,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I mean, he's got to. He's
I
got
love to hate Penn State. I love
Yeah.
Penn State when we're great, and then
Yeah.
when they're bad, I'm like, I knew it.
Yeah.
I knew it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they get great players, and they have. I think James Franklin's one of the best hirers of coaches ever. And they just got to finish it.
Franklin's been loving coming to Sally's. He likes flying that helicopter
Yeah, he
here.
does. I've had some good players play there, and
Yeah.
they must have a good spot to land his helicopter.
He does. New Abyssinia Field. Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah.
So I love that. And so I love, like, one of the big things that I tell people, and we're going through it right now, like Chris Haggerty, his kid is like a junior, kind of getting some time at Sally sort of deal. He's a late bloomer like I was sort of deal. And I tell people, and this is a story, you know, you're a perfect example. Like, if you're good enough, they're going to find you.
Sure.
If you're good enough, they're going to find you, whether that's, you know, out of Delaware, out of Penn State, in the first round, undrafted. Like the best dudes are going to make it through. And everybody, you know, in the NFL looks like this. Do they have this, right? Is the biggest thing. The mental toughness to make it through. So anything you want to highlight on your time at Delaware? How many years did you play with your brother at Delaware?
3.
3.
Yeah, I mean, it was
huge.
super special. I mean, for a lot of reasons. It's like the school I grew up around. Like, I mean, if you asked me when I was probably 10 years old and younger, like, who won the national championship in like 2003, I would tell you Delaware. Like, I didn't even, like, as a young kid, like, I didn't even know that really there was a difference between like Delaware and Penn State,
That's
Ohio
beautiful.
State. Like, it was just this naiveness of like, what are you talking about? Like, Delaware won't beat Colgate in the national championship. Like,
Doesn't everybody know that?
Yeah, like, they're the national champs. Like, you know, Division II, Division III, 1AA, like, that literally meant nothing to me.
Yeah.
Like, I just knew that that's where we went on Saturdays. Like, we tailgated, we went to the games. If they lost, my dad was in a bad mood for like a week, and if they won, he was in a great mood for a week. And it was like just true diehard stuff. And I was in the locker rooms after games, like stuff. It was like really meaningful for me to like be a player there as well, like more so than just a fan. And playing with my brother was like high school lacrosse and football, but still at the time it was like, dude, I'm like a grown man and you're still a boy. Like, you're a freshman, I'm a junior. Like, so he was playing a lot and did really good. Quick, I had to bully him, like, of course. Like, but by the time he got to college, and I had been in college for 2 years, like, we were close to equals. So it was like he was my training partner. Yeah, we did all our extra stuff together. We were
Oklahoma's.
Oklahoma's like in our parents' basement. Like,
just a reader household. Where's the designated Oklahoma
exactly.
spot?
Lot of drywall repairs. Yeah, we had the mini lacrosse sticks like slashed across like the
That's hilarious.
foam tiles. I mean, it was you know, that's what we knew growing up was like, you know, just got your brother and
guys being dudes.
He was chasing me and I was trying to make sure he never caught me, and like it was always a healthy relationship, but it was competitive, and I think it brought the best out of both of us. So it was cool to actually get to, you know, kind of finish my college career with him. Yep. And play right next to him and stuff. So it's
awesome. It's awesome. Yeah. Having a hot girlfriend at Delaware helps as well too, right?
Yeah. That helped. That helped. And honestly, I mean, it worked out in like the best way.
Now wifey.
Now wifey. But, you know, I think back and I'm like, you know, if the transfer portal existed, like maybe that doesn't happen. You know, I would have probably explored some other options. And, especially if money was involved, you know. I had a lot of offers out of high school, and some of them probably would have wanted me to come join them for 3 more years. Like, stock was high, and I had played well, and
isn't that crazy to think? Like,
you would have had to sit out a year.
10 years later, like now you'd be commanding nothing less than $500,000, $1 million.
Probably. It's
nuts
pretty crazy
to play linebacker.
It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, the same thing that you were doing for free. Scholarship.
Yeah, I was doing it for free meals.
Yeah, your meal stipend.
Protein shakes. We were living in like moldy apartments in
Oh my goodness.
State College.
That's hilarious.
Just grinding, scrapping.
That's hilarious.
Just chasing the dream, you know?
Yeah. Transitioning into like the next stage of your career. So I have a good friend, Matt Galambos. We played. He was a couple years behind me at Haverford, so he was class of 13. Played at Pitt, and then did a couple cups of coffee with the Steelers for a few years. Similar thing as well too, though. Like wasn't drafted. Did you get invited to the combine?
Nope.
Yeah, so he didn't get invited to the combine either. So I don't know what is it, if it's just, good-looking white dudes who play linebacker from the greater Philadelphia region not getting invited to the combine. Disrespected, right? But like, what was that process like for you? Where you like senior year, like, okay, cool, like I'm doing this. If it works out, great. If not, hey, I'll do something else, or like
I mean, I thought there was when I left Penn State, there was already scouts by my sophomore year at Delaware that were keeping their eye out for me, and I had played really well for 3 years, so I had a body of work. I had a really good senior season. I thought I should have been a no-brainer. Yeah. Combine, senior bowl,
he should have been. I thought you should have been a 3-year starter at Pitt, one of the career leaders in tackles. Pitt produces a ton of NFL guys.
Yeah,
Delaware's no stranger to the NFL either. Yeah,
no, and I thought the one thing about coming from Delaware, I also had evidence that it was 3 years ago, but go put on my tape from playing in the Big Ten. If you got a question, I'm better than I was then, and I played pretty well, but I think that was the hardest part about the process, was not that I got to go to these events and not perform well, but not even to have the opportunity.
Yeah.
Was just and watching other guys get that. And I've always felt like I was the hardest worker.
Yep. Do you have a chip on your shoulder?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's back there somewhere.
Yeah. Do you have a chip for all 32 teams?
Oh, I still got a chip. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I think every year I've had to kind of get it out the mud and make my way. And I've been flexible and played a multitude of roles, and from purely special teams to full-time starter and 50-50 and everything in between. But that process is kind of sucks. You always want to hear your name called, but at the end of the day, I knew I had an opportunity, and it was something I didn't have at the combine. I didn't have at the Senior Bowl, but I got an invite and got signed after the draft. Felt good about
with the Rams.
So with the Rams, yeah.
Did anybody else hit you up?
Yeah, I was probably the first linebacker not drafted.
Yeah.
So I had basically my agent and I had come up with a list of teams, probably 15 teams that were good situations, if I didn't get drafted.
Curiosity, how did you find your agent?
He was Paul's agent. Okay. He was Casey Keeler's agent. And he represented a couple guys that I felt had good careers that I was could see myself. I'm probably going to be a late round pick or undrafted, and this guy's had a lot of success with that.
Yeah.
So
is he still your guy?
Yeah.
Sweet.
Still with him. Still with him 7 years later.
Nice.
So, and we have a great relationship. He's helped me a ton, and anyway, we came up with this list of 15 teams, and then as the draft went on, it was Tampa Bay Buccaneers were the third team on the list, and they drafted a guy, Devin White, in the first round. We just crossed him off the list.
That guy was pretty good. Yeah,
not a good situation anymore. Even if you think you're better than a guy, it's first round pick. It's a roster spot.
Yeah,
and I was trying to make the roster. So at the end of the day, the Rams, the Saints, and the Raiders were the top three teams, and I had an offer from all three of them.
Sick.
To go play there, and at that point I just had to make the best decision. And that really helped me in a way that I got to pick my situation rather than being a 6th or 7th round pick and
welcome to Jacksonville.
Just being who's the next guy on the board, picked him, and you're dude, you don't really need a linebacker. And I ended up kind of I made the team out of camp, which is tough to do for an undrafted free agent. And I don't know if however things shake out, it worked, and I don't regret it.
No.
So,
yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Just out of curiosity, like who's in that meeting, like letting you know, like you made the team? Is it Sean and the GM? Like, is it like through training camp, or like what point in the process are you like, hey, I'm going with the Rams, right?
Yeah. So,
and you never feel secure. NFL, not for long. Yeah.
No, you never feel secure really, unless you got like guaranteed money and stuff. Mm-hmm. But that rookie year, it was like I remember calling home to my parents and them being like, how's it going? And being like, oh, I didn't really do much today. Like after the special teams period at the beginning, but that was really good. Like, and they're like, did you get to play any defense? I'm like,
you should have seen me on this punt coverage, Mom.
Yeah, I was running as fast as I could. Like, but it was tough. Like I was like, I kind of was known as being like a hard-nosed, tough linebacker, like a run stopper, and things that were kind of, that was my specialty. And then I got to the NFL training camp and I was like, wait, we don't wear pads a lot and we never tackle.
No.
Like, that guy just touched his hip, but that doesn't mean he's made a tackle.
Yeah,
I'm like,
no.
and I'm like,
yeah, just chit-chatting about Sean McVay, which is just like crazy that like 1 degree of separation. Troy Reader, Sean McVay. So
multiple degrees, I
think. Just out of curiosity, do you have his cell phone? Like, or no? Okay, word. Yeah. This is part of my take. They ask you to FaceTime him right now.
Yeah, I'll let him go.
Coach, I'm on a podcast in Delaware. He's like, where the fuck are
you? I'll see you Monday, man.
Did these guys rip on you from being from Delaware? Did you catch any flack?
No. One of the coolest things when I was a rookie, I didn't expect like everybody in the building to know my name.
Yeah.
Or know who I was or where I was from. And they bring you in like cattle, like just ship you into airport. LAX is a zoo.
Yeah.
Shove you on a shovel and take you right to like the medical buildings. First guy that comes up to me, head athletic trainer, Reggie Scott.
Yeah.
He goes, you Delaware guy? Yeah. I think he's just going to call me in. He goes, went to Dover High School. And I was like, you got to be kidding me. Like,
shout out the first state, baby.
Yeah, I'm like, seriously? Like,
you're like, I'm a little nervous you went to Dover, Mr. Reggie.
Yeah. So we're like chopping it up about like Delaware high school sports. I'm like, all right, that's good guy to have on my good side. Then I'm like going through the physicals, and this guy's like talking to me, and he's like, oh, you're the Delaware guy. I'm like, yeah. He was like, Delaware undergrad.
No way.
He's a physical therapist in the training room. I'm
the
like,
NFL, baby.
NFL.
Yeah, we're tagging UD football, NFL, right here.
NFL. And I've joked with him because there's a lot of Delaware like PTs and ATs like throughout the NFL.
Yeah.
And we always joke like Delaware's the Alabama of athletic training. just a pipeline, absolute pipeline into the NFL from Delaware athletic training and physical therapy. But, and then one of the first coaches I had the opportunity to talk to was Wade Phillips. Was our defensive coordinator.
Sick.
And he kind of made a joke like, Tubby Raymond and the wing tee. And I was like, yes, sir. And he was like, they still run the wing tee? And I was like, I don't think they've run that for like 30 years, but they still run it at like Cesar Rodney High School.
Exactly. Mr. Wade, if you want to see, 929 waggle right, like, I got you.
Yeah.
I got you.
Little buck sweep.
Buck sweep. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
So played. This will be your 7th year.
Yes.
7th year. So I just want to touch on this lightly. Like number one, kudos. I think you get a pension after what, 4 or 5?
3, and then 4.
Gets better every year,
better,
right?
Yeah.
Nice. Awesome. So congratulations to you. Going back to the chip on the shoulder. So you got a chip on the shoulder for every team that didn't draft you, right?
Yeah.
A little bit. Yeah. I got a chip on my shoulder
I don't necessarily think about that, but like I feel like that kind of shaped the career path that now is just chippy. Yeah,
for sure. Yeah. I got a chip on my shoulder for everybody who didn't buy a house with the Garmin Group. So you're on my chip. So there's my punchline for you.
Yeah, you got to talk to. That's sort of my wife's department. So you got to.
I'll get on her. Miss Mary, you're on my shit list. Yeah. Nah, just kidding. I love you.
I wasn't even here when we bought our house. That's funny. That's a funny story. I didn't see it for 6 months.
It was the weirdest time ever, dude. It was like the height of COVID, and like Mary hit me up. and she's like, hey, I want to look at this house. I was like, we can't sell real estate right now. Like, I don't know what's going on.
It's crazy. It's not a good time.
I thought the world was ending. Mary Kate was like grinding every day.
Yeah.
I was playing Roller Coaster Tycoon and Solitaire on my phone, doing nothing. And then I went back to work at Lang for like 6 weeks, and that's where I met Connor. But I was literally doing nothing. I was like, babe, the world's ending. Like, we just got engaged. Like,
it's over.
Last 2 weeks, fuck it. I'm just playing solitaire, chilling. But so kudos to you. 7 years in the league is absolutely amazing. Anything that you're most looking forward to? Like, it's wild to think you're one of the old heads in the locker room. 5 years of college, 7 years in the league. Yeah. Like, these kids got to be babies coming in, 22, 23.
Yeah, there's some young ones.
Yeah. Do they look up to you? Do you have like seniority in the locker room, or like what's the vibe out there?
Yeah, I think so. Everybody's kind of, equal, but I learned it as a young player where like there's like respect that comes with not just necessarily like, wow, that's cool. That guy was a first round pick a couple of years ago. But like you see some of the vets that are like have made it this far with, without necessarily being a Pro Bowl or all pro player, like, which I have not. And I think there's a respect that comes with like, dang, like that guy's a grinder.
Longevity.
That's what, how do you stick around?
There's some serious ones out there.
Whether you're
Stafford, Whitworth. Yeah.
Like, how do you?
Is Johnny Hecker your punter too, or what?
He used to be. He's in Tennessee now.
Yeah. Those guys are all grinders.
Grinders. And you see how different it is when you're a first round pick or just a rookie in general, and you're 22 years old, and the things you can do to your body in a negative way and still be able to perform day in and day out. Yeah. And then you see the guys that are like in their 30s, and it's like, oh yeah, I got to drink 72 ounces of water and this many electrolytes and take my amino acids, beta alanine, and beet juice so I can go out and have a good practice today. And you're like, that's what it takes. Yeah. Like, and there's been a ton of good examples like on the teams I've been on of guys like that. And
love it.
Now I kind of feel like I'm still learning from those guys. I mean, shoot, Stafford's played 10 more years than me, which is insane. And
Stafford was balling like when we were in high school, like at Georgia and stuff. Like he was balling.
Yeah. I mean, he's, I guess, was he
do you have Matt Stafford's cell phone number?
Yeah, I think I do.
All right.
Yeah,
we'll see. So, maybe we'll see him at DuPont Country Club one day.
Yeah, we'll get him down. Try and get him. We'll get him out here. Yeah, just to break 50 with Bryson. Yeah, a couple of weeks ago. Maybe we'll do break 60 with Vin.
Yeah, right. Yeah, me, you, and Tommy, and Troy, Stafford. Yeah, that's a foursome right there. Group. We'll see. We'll see you on the Moors. 12 o'clock.
See if we can get him out here. Yeah,
that's hilarious. But kudos to you, man. Phenomenal career here. Wrapping it up here in the next few minutes. Like that transition period, I think is just huge because, like I read in my devotional one time, like being that locker room guy, like having a guy, that you can go to is massive. And so, just kudos to you, man. It's been awesome watching. Like if the Birds aren't on, like, and the Rams are playing, like we have you on, sort of deal. And my mom is always saying like, oh, isn't that girl Mary, the tall, skinny, pretty one? Yeah. I'm like, yes, Mom, that's Troy. Yeah, you know his name. So, yeah. So we're always shouting out and everything. One piece of advice that I'm sure you give to people, but question for you, and then I would want to see your answer in terms of piece of advice. Do you ever Twitter your name?
Not anymore. I did early on, but I've learned that that's a very
you got some haters out there.
It's a very toxic place.
It's super toxic, dude.
And I always guys always ask me that. And other guys on the team that are like, dude, I just searched my name. Don't do it. And you're like, yeah, I learned that lesson a while ago. But I think it's sort of like politics, where it's like if you go on Facebook or Twitter, there might be a sample size of 100 people.
Yeah.
And 25% hate Biden or Trump.
Yeah.
25% love Biden or Trump.
Yeah.
And then the 50% in the middle really don't care.
Yeah.
Or don't feel strong enough to tweet.
Yeah.
The lovers and the haters, I think you're way more likely to tweet
as
a hater than a lover.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. So if you want me
I
to
think
start
it's
attacking
bad.
these people, I'll be your
Be
online
my
bodyguard.
burner. Yeah.
I just go straight government. I go straight government name.
I love that.
Yeah. Burner culture's huge. That's another topic for another podcast day. We love our burners out there. I have a lot of good
There's some
burner
good
friends
burners.
on Twitter. Dude, I played in this golf outing, burner golf outing, literally like 25, 30 dudes. I didn't know. I knew like a fraction of these guys. There's a lot of Garnet Valley, like Delaware, St. Joe's kids sort of deal. And it's like all a friend group, like D-Walk's like friend group sort of deal. These like Garnet Valley kids. They're obsessed with their burners sort of deal. And I know all these kids in real life, but I don't know their burners.
Yeah.
I played in this golf outing. It was like they were like characters like revealing themselves like, oh, I'm so-and-so. And I'm like, you're
Masked
so-and-so, dude. Yeah. Like, it was literally like the Masked Singer. And they call me Government Garm because I don't have a burner. So I'm like,
That's good. I'd probably not do that.
No, I don't need the burner. I'll just say, I'll just say it, and I'll say it from the chest. So
Yeah, I love that.
that's hilarious. Last thing for you here, wrapping up. Typically, we'll do some like, you know, favorite Delaware spots. So while I'm pulling this up, favorite Delaware spots when you're back home at Delaware, where can we find you?
Ooh, I'm hitting Taverna.
I love that.
It was a staple in Newark, but now I live up in Wilmington, so always hitting there. Snuff Mill is probably my favorite steak in Delaware.
Snuff Mill.
Snuff Mill. I like Bardea steak too. My wife and I love Mickey Moto's.
Nice.
Let me think. I'm always over at Titus Sports Academy.
Love that.
And pretty much 5 times a week.
Love
working
that.
out. That's where I work out at. Trying to think of some of my other good spots. Two Cousins, Buffalo Chicken Pizza. It's the best.
Good spot.
In Hockessin. And then in the summer, we like going down to Lewis, and there's a bunch of good spots down there too.
Love that. Good stuff. Good stuff. Last question I wanted to ask you here. So we got the Sally's 2025 football schedule release. Did you see this yet? So here it is. Slasianum 2025 schedule release. We're going to put this out. We'll tag Gene. We'll tag Paul. We'll tag the Sally's football. But read to you by yours truly, Slasianum's favorite, Mr. Troy Reeder.
Yeah, here we go. Game 1 against Red Lion.
Is that the Delaware Red Lion? Are they back, or is this a new team?
I think that's the.
I don't know. Yeah.
I do know that it's the Mid-Atlantic Pigskin Classic.
That was popping
So it
last
could
year.
be a different state, maybe.
Maybe, yeah.
Mid-Atlantic, like maybe another Red Lion.
Mid-Atlantic. So the
Not
Mid-Atlantic
sure, but it's a
Pigskin
dub,
Classic.
so it doesn't matter.
Franklin flew in on his helicopter last year for it. I forget who Sally's played, but Haverford, my high school, played Emotep. Emotep whooped us.
Really?
But yeah, Franklin was flying in because he had a kid coming out at
He was at
Emotep at
Abyssinia?
Philly. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, he was walking around.
Well, that's who
Pigskin Classic.
Sally's plays, Red Lion. And then we got LaSalle College High School.
How do we feel about LaSalle? LaSalle's good.
Yeah, they're pretty good. I like Sally's. This is year 3 in the new system. I think they're going to take another step.
Yeah,
Paul's
I think so.
back,
Yeah.
which is huge. So
Huge.
I think that's a win. Malvern Prep, they owe Malvern Prep big time. Let me see. That's an away game. I'd love to see him beat Malvern at
Huge.
Malvern.
Yeah. Mock Falvern.
Yeah. Sussex Central. That's a home game. That's tough travel for Central, man. Coming
Is
up
it?
Here. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
2 hours. That's pretty
See,
tough in high
I'm
school.
still learning these like Delaware
Yeah,
schools and
yeah.
stuff. So I'm like, where's Sussex?
Sussex Central. That's a win. We got Smyrna at Smyrna. It'll probably be a good one, but it'll be a win.
Tough one. You and Nolan Henderson texting that week or what?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Shout out Nolan Henderson.
Definitely.
Just balled out this
Nolan
weekend.
Henderson, great game.
Yep.
It's been fun to watch.
Yep.
Just kinda doing
NFL.
what he's
Hen,
done his whole life.
Hen minor league football. Yeah.
Hen UFL.
Yeah.
Still
Hen
NFL.
UFL. There it is. There we go.
Hodgson. Don't know much about him, but it's probably a win.
Building a brand new school down there. It's beautiful.
Appo's had good teams.
Appo,
recently, I
Middletown,
think.
Dover have been decent the last few years.
Yeah. I think Appo's got a pretty big offensive, defensive lineman guy that's committed to Penn State.
Just a farm boy down there, just
I
eating.
guess.
Yeah.
Really just chucking hay bales and grinding in the gym. Just became a giant human being. But
I love that.
that's a win. Middletown. Rob McConaughey, one of my old coaches.
Okay.
He's down there.
Nice.
And we're going to give him the business. We owe him from last year's state championship.
Love it. Yes, we did.
So that's a win. And then Caravel Academy. This one could be pretty cool because Caravel is now moving up to Flight A.
Okay.
They've like dominated Flight B.
Yeah.
For or whatever they call it now, maybe Division 2 or whatever.
Something,
It's basically the second level.
Yeah.
Smaller school, but always has great athletes.
Quality.
It's almost like a little underdog story this year to see them bump up. You know, I think I think they belong there athletically, but they're definitely competing against a lot bigger schools. So
time to step up to their true fighting weight.
Yeah, John Reed is the head coach there. He's the man, and I think he's gonna do a good job. But I like that end of October Halloween game. It looks like
that's a great time.
10:31.
Nice. On Halloween.
On Halloween, that could get spooky.
Yeah, let's do it.
But that's probably Sally's win. I'm gonna take them, and then William Penn to end the season, who I also do not know anything about at the moment.
That's a W, though. That's
a dub.
Yeah, 10-0.
I'm thinking 10-0, and then we're gonna run the playoffs and
let's do it.
Get back on top.
Come on, Gino.
Win 2 in 3 years.
Yeah. Fun fact: Delaware Sally's football runs on Dunkin'. So Mr. Gene Deldon loves his afternoon Dunkies.
Love that.
Yeah, and ripping it
Dunkin'
past
Donuts,
here, giving us a little wave.
Yeah,
giving us a little wave. So that's the Sally's football 2025 schedule release, read and narrated and commentary by Mr. Troy Reeder. That's all the time that we got for you guys today. So appreciate you guys tuning in. Troy, thanks so much for coming on. We're definitely going to have to get you back on.
Yeah, sure.
We'll definitely set up. I'm not sure if Stafford will make it, but me, you, Tommy, we'll find a fourth. We'll get out to DuPont this year. So, and we'll make it happen. Anything else you want to say to the people?
Sounds good. No, I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Cool. Awesome. Love you guys. Thanks.